Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Conversations with Cogee. Title of the show today, For Better or For Worse, Helping Men and Women Understand Each Other. Now, let me tell you something. I think that first hour was a great first hour. I mean, we really had it out. We had our 3 men and we had our 4 women. And we all talked about, what bothered us. We talked about what we willing to deal with. We talked about what we ain't willing to deal with. We talked about children being involved in a relationship. And like I said, I really stand by what I said. I think you really have to blend the children in with the relationship as well, because you have to hear the children out and see how the children feel. Because like I said, children are still hurt from the divorce. So they don't want nobody in front of their mom, or they don't want nobody in front of their dad. But the parents have to go on and find somebody. But sometimes some parents say, hey, I'm going to stay single all the way to the children out of college. I don't think that's fair, because they need a life too. And those children are having relationships, but you can't have one. That ain't right. You got to come to a happy medium somewhere. And so, like I said, we have a great guest, Rochele Hirsch. She'll be coming in a minute, and we definitely going to talk about this situation with her, and we're going to break it down. And hopefully she heard the first hour and she heard everybody and what we felt. And like I said, hey, she's a great guest. Please get your pens and paper. Now, I'm going to make this break real quick. Everybody out there, get your pens and paper. I want y'all to learn from this. And like I said, with this show today, we can agree to disagree. This show ain't about black eyes and bloody noses. This show is about understanding. And I think in the first hour, at the end of it, we all laughed and we all still, joked around, and we all felt okay. We all learned something from it. Whatever we heard from it, we didn't like about it. I mean, we still moving on. It didn't affect us. And that's the way things should be. You take from this lesson today what you can use, and what you can't use, you don't use it. So there's no need to get mad over something you're not going to deal with, or something you're not going to use anyway. I think relationships are about understanding and two people seeing where each person is coming from. And if somebody's coming from the left or coming from the right, you already know what ain't for you, what's for you and what's not for you. You already know what you'll put up with and what you won't put up with. Now, if you stay in something that you won't put up with, that's your fault. That's not your spouse's fault. That's your fault. You know what I'm saying? Now, vice versa to the man, to the woman, same thing. But sometime, and I done it before, you will hang in something because you want the best for it. And you think this person to change, or this person might spin out of whatever they're going through. And I done been the victim of that. And I've also been the problem of that. I'm very honest about the things I talk about on this show. Y'all know that. So stay locked in, strapped in. We're going to get ready for our guests, and we'll be right back.
It's love.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Conversations with Cogee. This is a great show today. I mean, I'm getting so many texts right now. And on top of that, me and Queen B been going back and forth off the air right now. Back and forth off the air because, number one, me and her had a discussion about our mother. And I said, when mama feels a certain way about something, she won't let up. Even if you spread it around so many ways to give her example of a different, better way to look at it, she's just, no. Queen B claims I'm the same way and I don't let up. That ain't true.
It is true.
No, it's not.
It is.
No, it's not.
Okay.
We'll go to our guest. Thank you. I won. Okay, Jay. So you can do the announcements right now, and you can tell about our great guest that's coming in right now, because I know she'll understand me.
We have Rochele HC Hirsch.
Hey, Shell.
Author of Relationship Chemistry, Understanding the Unspoken. She has developed a unique system for identifying the unspoken expectations that can support some relationships, but which can also create confusion and even anger in other relationships. With this extra knowledge, people will be better able to cope with their relationships and recognize the right kind of partner, both business and personal. Hirsch is an internationally recognized business and relationship consultant with over 30 years of experience in Fortune 500 corporations and startups, focusing primarily on organization effectiveness and leadership development. Her new book blends her business background with her 25 years of research and experience in the phenomenon of personal transformation. Hirsch's revolutionary theory of how come, introduced in the book, provides a different understanding of cause and effect, offering new hope for permanently shifting instinctive reaction patterns that lead to stress and self-sabotage. We want to welcome Rochele HC Hirsch to the show.
Thank you.
What's
Gotta
up, Miss
shorten that bio a
Rochele?
bit.
How you doing, Miss Rochele?
I'm doing good today. How about you?
I'm doing fine, and what they saying about me is not true.
Well, I didn't hear what they were just saying about you, so maybe you should repeat it.
Okay, I will. We'll make this real quick.
Okay.
My sister's on the panel with me today. Her name is Queen B. That's what she called herself. Now, me and her have a mom that's really stern. And when my mom believes in something, she really won't let up off of it. Even if you break it down to her in so many ways and show her different, she's just like, no, that's just where she wants to be with the situation. And I'm the type of person, if you break it down to me and you can make me see it from a different angle, I'm willing to change on it. My sister claims I'm not. She sticks by it that I'm not, that I'm just like my mother. And I'm telling her it's not true.
Okay, well, I was just checking in on the true energy relationships between you and your sister and you and your mom. And so one of the interesting things is you and your mom are what I call lover energy. And that doesn't mean you're lovers. It just means that you feel a part of one another. You're on peer level with her, okay? Mm-hmm. And that's like you're on the same level. And she may have played the role of your mother, but you never felt like you were below her. You're at the same level with her. Is that true for you?
Yes, it is true.
Watch out now, Miss Rochele.
Okay. Now, what that means is that it's almost like, you just understand. You feel a part of one another. You understand it. Now, your sister, I feel like she's what I call mirror energy with your mother. So she'll react to aspects of herself that she sees reflected in your mother and vice versa. Now, that can go real positive. Okay, and you can feel real understood, but it can also go negative.
Bingo.
And when it goes negative, then it's like, what are you doing?
Right.
Why aren't you doing it a different way? And
right.
so that can sometimes lead to even more anger.
Now, it's the thing with me and my sister. Now, you hit that on the nose. I give you that. You hit all that right on the nose. So I tell my sister, she knows what irks me with me and my mom. Now, if she knows this, it's like, don't play that card because that's going to make us fall out. So when she came out here, I said, look, we're going to make a pact. Me and you grown now, we older. We don't have to go through that. We can just not do what irks each other and we can have a great time. And we've had one of the best times we've ever had. But we both established our boundaries. You get what I'm trying to say? And that's
I sure do.
And that's what I was saying earlier in the show. People don't establish their boundaries where I know what hurts my sister and I won't do it. I won't do it for nothing in the world because
so you're being loving to her when you do that.
Right, because I care about her feelings, but I don't have to say I'm sorry later on over something that I don't have to do. I choose not to hurt her.
Well, on top of it, you've kind of hit the nail on the head around what anger is and where that sets us up. I've developed something I call the anger flow chart. Okay, so when you look at anger, I define as your expectation has not been met or your boundary has been crossed.
Right.
Now, a lot of people think anger is yelling, screaming, throwing things. No, that's not anger. That's trying to control or punish somebody.
Right. Right.
Okay, but anger is a natural feeling of I didn't get what I expected. Now, some people, the way they treat that is they go quiet or they withdraw. Other people will get angry. Get more trying to punish or control the other person into what they want. But to understand, well, what is my expectation? Does the other person even know it?
Yes, ma'am.
Like when you and your sister are talking about what you're going to do with each other, you're setting expectations and you both agree to them, right?
Right.
Okay. So when you meet the other person's expectations, you can have a pretty good relationship.
Right. Now hold on. Miss Rochele, let me say this real quick. My sister said you hit something on the nose, and she's over here pointing and cheering you on. She got Miss Rochele pom-poms going right now in the studio. So I want to know what you was cheering about on what all she said. What was you over here pumping your fist about?
Because our mother, she always says her and Cogee are like 17 years apart. And she always bring it up, like it was, like you said, mother/sister. And if my mother heard, she'll probably cry. Then the part where if it don't go Cogee's way, the majority of the time he shut down on us because he's brother/father.
Okay.
Because I have a 24-year-old, he has an older son, and they scared to death to call him on some things. His no is no. He's stern with everybody.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you know
I'm
what?
next. Go ahead.
They'd be scared. They'd say, Queen Bee, can you call him and ask him? It's like, they just scared to death of them, and I just don't know what to say about
Well,
Cogee.
now, do you want to be scaring these people?
No, hold on now. Okay, let me say this real quick, and then we're gonna move on. This is good because we earn it out. We
Yeah.
getting our New Year's stuff out before we go into the next year, Miss
That's right.
Rochelle. Now let me tell you. Now the thing about it is, Miss Rochelle, with my son and my nephew, they 26 and 24. The thing
Okay.
about it is, they know right from wrong because they've been raised right. They ain't been in trouble. They ain't been through the court system. They ain't had us in nothing. But the thing about it is, when you ask me certain things and you know they ain't right because you've been brought up right and you know that's what you shouldn't do, I don't see you putting forth the effort to do it for yourself before you ask me. I'm not going to help young men to be lazy young men. I want you to try first. Once you tell me 2 or 3 times you tried and there's no other way, I'm willing to help you, but I'm not giving you nothing just to give it to you. Show me some self-sufficiency. That's where I'm stern.
You've made a really good point there, and that is, I've had to learn this the hard way for myself too, is that most of us want to help somebody out, but
Yes, ma'am.
help to us means we want them to step up to the next level.
Yes, ma'am. Thank
If
you.
I give you help, you step up to the next level.
Right.
There are a lot of people who ask for what they call as help, but what they really want is charity.
Yes, ma'am.
Now,
You're
charity
right.
means you're not going anywhere except where you are. I mean, that's feeding the fish
That's
to the
right.
man, not teaching him how to fish.
Yes, ma'am. And you know what, Miss Rochelle, the thing about it is, I'm hard on my nephew, my sister's son, because he is the man of the house. What I mean by that, he is, her little man. He's supposed to grow up and make sure his mama's all right. So me as a man, a self-sufficient man that takes care of myself, my children, and whoever I'm affiliated with, I want to share that with my nephew. I want him to have that part of me to where he can take care of my sister, because I might leave first and I'm not around to take care of my sister. But my son and my nephew, they are trained to be the new young breed men of the family that represent the family, that can teach our younger children how to fish and how to eat anytime they feel
Now,
like it.
do they expect that of themselves?
No, ma'am. They like overly blessed children who done had everything they wanted, but now that they older, I'm telling my sister, no means no. The brakes are on. It's not gonna work with me. You at a certain age to where I would love it if sometime I said, I want a steak, and you said, Daddy or Uncle, I would love to buy you one. I would like to take you out to eat. I don't want to go out to eat, and every time the check comes to the table, I got grown people at the table, but the check comes to me. That ain't fair. That's not teaching men how to be men, and that's not teaching them
and so
how to
you
take care of
have
their
worked
family.
really hard to be the man, actually in your mother's life probably.
Yes,
to
ma'am.
live up to what her expectations are
My father.
at a peer level.
My
Now,
father.
the other thing that I talk about with this theory of how come that I've developed over the last, 15 years is around if you're not getting what you say you want, then you're getting some unloving, hardwired beliefs coming true that were never your fault.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. But it's like it sets up how life is. This is how life is. So you're obviously a little frustrated that your son and your nephew are not living up to the expectations that you had of yourself, even.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, I can go with that one. I can.
Okay. Now, and so you want to be loving to these guys in terms of, making them feel happy about, what you can give to them. At the same time, they're not meeting your expectations.
Right.
Now, let's see. How come your expectations are not being met? Yes. Because you got a heart. Do you mind if I check in on these things? This is my
Check
intuitive
in,
work.
ma'am.
Yeah, you know what? I got you here, and not only are you helping me, you helping my audience all around the world. We're streaming worldwide, and I really want your synopsis. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So what I do is I kind of bring in this information. So imagine this 3-part system. Okay,
right.
There's a stuck belief, there's first stuck emotion. I call it stuck emotion or emotional solder. If you look at a circuit board and you see the melted metal that's on the circuit board that's holding in a hardwired belief. Mm-hmm. You can imagine what that looks like. Okay, so you've got the stuck emotion, you've got the hardwired belief, and then all of us have these, I call it survival tactics, to get away from that stuck emotion because it was too dangerous to feel.
Right.
And we don't even know we've got it. It should react in a way that goes along to get along.
Yes, ma'am.
They comply, don't make waves, just keep it smooth, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
But the unloving belief still comes true. Other people, their survival tactic, and again, this is instinctive. It's not their choice. It's just how they instinctively react. Sometimes they go rebel, okay? They go contrary to what the person is like. And the ones who go contrary, often we'll see them getting into more trouble, will blame their behavior for why they're, having problems,
Yes,
okay,
ma'am.
that they're not getting what they want. Even know where the behavior comes from. If they know what's happening, sometimes they can willpower themselves to stop, to interrupt that instinctive,
Right.
okay?
Right.
And shift it to a different way. A lot of people who go into addiction counseling, we're trying to pump up their willpower so they can interrupt that instinctive thing that gets them in trouble.
Right.
Okay. Other people, since the instinctive thing is to go along to get along, we don't even know they're in trouble. Okay. You see people out there who are workaholics, that are hurting their own lives because everything is work and nothing is being, for example. They've got a similar issue, but they're not interrupting that pattern because it's so socially acceptable.
Right.
Okay. So if you find a lot of young people out there that are the ones that tend to get into big trouble, they've got a contrary reaction that was like they were conceived with, they were born with. They didn't choose it. It's just who they are.
Right. I understand that.
Okay. So, all right. So now what I'm going to do is find out how come you're not getting what you say you want with your son and your nephew about them stepping up to be as responsible as you have been.
Yes,
Because
ma'am.
you have been. I mean, you wouldn't have a radio show unless you were responsible about getting things done.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So hang on a second. It's anger that was first triggered 1 to 2 years old with your father. You and your father are mirror energy, just like your sister and your mother are, but you're mirror energy with your father. He doesn't say regarding himself that he wants to be responsible for the family. So I am without somebody being responsible. And so that's what's happening again. You're being very successful in having it come true that you're without your son, you're without your nephew being responsible. Now, your survival tactic to avoid that anger and the disgrace and the hurt that's holding all that in is to comply. Okay, is to comply with the culture of whatever. But it's like you have worked so hard all your life to be responsible. For these guys to be getting away without being responsible is really frustrating.
Yes, ma'am. You're right about that.
But your belief is that you're without somebody being responsible. So it's
Right.
coming true in the form of your nephew and your son right now.
Yes, ma'am.
Now imagine saying to yourself, I'm willing to have people around me who are responsible.
I would love it. It would be a good vacation for me
Right.
to take
Your
a break,
conscious
even
mind
when I'm in the
says that's
presence
what
of
you
those
want.
people.
But
Right.
if you were to test your subconscious and see what's there, and you can do this with muscle testing, you could do this, you can really test your own body to say, is it true that I'm willing to have people around me who are responsible? And half the time you'll find that it's not true. So your real truth is, there ain't nobody around me who's responsible except me.
Right. Yeah, you're right about that. You're definitely right. But see, now I want to say this one thing real quick, and then I want to go to my listeners. I want to go to people on the phone right now because
Okay.
I know they want to ask you questions on everything you said. Then I'm going to go to my panel, and then I want to talk about your book. We're going to break down your
Okay,
book.
thanks.
Now,
Okay.
what I want to do real quick, I just want to say, I had a good father that's been in my life. From birth to he passed away. Didn't miss a beat. I was trained to take care of my family, take care of my brothers and sisters, because he said one day one of us might not be here. It might be you. It might be me. Or it might be you. But while you're here, you will, lead the family and do what you're supposed to do, and you'll leave an honorable son. If I leave first, I still want you to be honorable and making sure they all right. But most of all, to make sure that they know how to be self-sufficient and go on, and we keep this chain going in the families. Now,
And you went along with that.
Yes,
you
ma'am.
liked that.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. And my sister says that I'm so stern because it's like a lot of things that happen with these young folks nowadays, it's because they haven't thought once, thought twice. My father had this system. He called it think once, think twice before you do anything. Now, I use it all the time, and I bring it up all the time on the air to all the youth, and I say it to my siblings. Think once. If they tell me they done something, I say, did you think once and did you think twice? No, Daddy, I just respond. Okay, but see, that ain't what you was taught. Now, you went wrong right out the gate with that. I said, did you feel in your gut something wasn't right? Yes, I did. Why didn't you think once and think twice? There was the system right there telling you that. And that's what I try to get my nephews to understand, that when it comes to the law and when it comes to anybody else outside our household, they going to judge the parents on the way these children act in the street because they feel like it came from the home first. And it didn't. You know, we good parents.
I think what's going on is that both your son and your nephew have this contrary reaction state as different from the go along to get along state.
Mm-hmm.
And so part of it is they don't even know why they instinctively react to not do what you're saying.
They want everything instant. They want it microwaved real quick. They can't wait for nothing to bake. Oh, they gone. It'll burn up. They want it microwaved right now.
Okay, let's see. Your son, he's going contrary. And his anger that was first triggered, not caused, triggered during birth, right after he was born with his father, with his grandfather, which is your father.
Right.
Okay, so he didn't say regarding himself. He didn't say regarding himself that I'm without value. So part of what's going on with your son is that he's running a belief in there that it's a generational pattern, that he's without value. Now, your father may have had a similar one, but the way he compensated for that was to try to be of value, go along to get along. But your son has a contrary mode to that, but his recurring drumbeat is, they don't value me. I don't have any value. Right?
Yes, ma'am. You hit that on the nose. He just said that when I say you hit that on the nose, we had a conversation yesterday and he just told me that. He said that I put his sisters and everybody else before him because they're successful. Like I told him, no, it ain't that I put them before you, but I have to keep pushing the successful people to success. I can't just keep dragging him. It's you're gonna either want to do something or you're not.
Okay. Well, one of the ways you can be loving to him is to help acknowledge the anger and the hurt and the disgrace that he hardly even knows he's got. But those stuck emotions are holding in the belief that I don't have any value. Now, the thing is, you can't change the belief by just trying to think it different. Okay?
Right.
And people will use affirmations all day long to try to think it different. But you can't change it when it's stuck in place by that stuck emotion. So, to be able to go to the emotion, feel it enough in a safe environment. I call it an emotional restroom. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
And melt it off and realize it's my own belief coming true that I have no value. Okay. Now, the solution to that I work with my clients on is, each one of us is a unique expression of God energy.
That's right. You're right.
Life energy. And that's where our value is, except it's like we've got these blinders on and we don't see that.
Right.
And part of it is because we've got this emotion it's like a cloud in our sky. We can't even see it.
Right.
And so we've got to honor. So you could say to your son, you know what? I bet you feel really angry and somehow it's your fault and really hurt that you don't feel like you've got any value. And then he'll say, yeah, I do.
Right.
Or he'll defend it or say, well, but the idea is if he says, and he's already told you, you don't feel like any value, say, I believe you. I believe you feel that way. And that's one of those unfortunate, unloving beliefs that a lot of us have.
Right.
And the way you're dealing with it is to get away from the stuck emotion, and then it shows up as contrary behavior, and you get in trouble.
Yes, ma'am.
And then sure enough, people say you don't have any value. You're just a lazy, whatever. And to say, in order for you to shift that belief, you may have to really understand it's your own belief that's held in place by emotion.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can help him acknowledge and feel that emotion in a safe way, he might be able to change that belief.
Okay, there it is. I mean, I understand that everybody's in here, they shaking their head that they agree. I mean, I agree with you. You broke it down. You really broke it down. And I do appreciate you. I do appreciate that.
Well, thank you. I'm so glad to be here with you.
And you know what? You could have been anywhere else in the world, but you're here with me, and I appreciate you as well. Definitely. Now, I'm going to go to my phone calls real quick. Miss Peaches, what would you like to say to Miss Rochele?
Well, first I want to say hello and thank you for being on the show.
Thank you.
And I guess the question that I would have is, unfortunately, there are a lot of great kids out there, but there are a lot of kids that do go contrary to what the parents, like the parents want the best for them no matter what, but then you see them doing the exact opposite. Do you have any advice for parents to try to help, guide their kids to not just turn and do the contrary? What's the way to keep them on that right path that you've set them on?
Okay, one of the things about when people go contrary too much is usually it's a stress reaction. Okay, and to understand the roots of stress and how you can help them feel less stress and feel more energy is really a preventive action. It's preventive for problematic behavior. It's preventive for disease. It's preventive for getting sick even. Okay, and so here's how I talk about stress. Stress is crunched energy. It's contracted energy. Here we are, energy beings. We're a unique expression of life energy. And when you can be stressed, if you feel tight about something, you don't feel like you're flowing and moving, you're stressed. Now, there are 5 major sources of stress, one of which is your emotional stress. Now, the same thing could happen to 3 different people, and they're going to feel about it differently. Suppose I dropped a whole plate of food on the floor. You might say, oh, let me help you pick that up. You didn't hurt yourself, did you? And you're flowing with it, just no big deal. Somebody else would look at the same thing and go, oh, what a stupid thing for her to do, and then they're crunched about it, like, because they could never do that and get away with it. Or somebody else would say to themselves instinctively, I'm glad it wasn't me. Now, if you feel contracted or crunched about a physical event or what somebody said out there, that's stressful. If you don't feel contracted, that's not stressful. That's why stress for one person is flow for another person. The second major stressor are toxins, allergens, pathogens, drugs. Now, one of the biggest issues we've got going on now is the stress from the foods that we're kind of sensitive or allergic to. For example, wheat. I try to stay away from wheat and grains because that stresses my body. It crunches my energy. Dairy, for a lot of people, is a stressor because it's like an allergy. If you've got allergies to pollens and stuff out there, of course you get stressed with that, right? So being aware that the second major stressor is toxins, allergens, pathogens, drugs. The third major stressor is poor nutrition for your body type. Some people should be more vegetarian. Some people need to have that meat, okay? And it just depends upon your body type. And there are different things out there, like I like the Mercola website, the MERCOLA.com website. They give a lot of information about body types and diets for them. Another part of that is not drinking enough water. So a lot of our young people are not drinking enough water, and that sets up stress. It's crazy as that sounds, but it's stressful. The fourth major stressor is, and I've got some of this stuff on my website too. So in the book that I've got it in there. The fourth major stressor is not enough rest and healing if you've been overexerting or hurting or in pain or some disease. Now, a lot of kids are getting way too much, quote, rest, and couch potato stuff. Right. Instead of getting out there and exercising. So, in fact, that becomes stressful for them if they're over-resting. The fifth major stressor of these 5 is the extremes of heat and cold. So if they get too cold or too hot, that crunches their energy. Yes, so if we look at stress equals crunched energy, then you've got a lot of stuff you can do about it. Number one, you can take away stressors like drinking enough water, or getting enough rest. The other thing is you inject energy. And injecting energy is why exercise is so good. That's why laughing is so good. So it's and also all the alternative healing processes like acupuncture or chiropractic or meditation or massage or those things. Those are all flowing, good feeling life energy. So that takes away stress. So I say if we can manage the crunch with more flow, we're less stressed. If your child is less stressed and has more energy, they're going to run into they're going to not feel their unloving beliefs so much. Yes, ma'am. And so you'll have less reactive behavior. So I think that's the number one issue we're dealing with our kids these days is they're so blasted stressed and we don't even know it. That's right. And they don't either.
You're right about that. You
Thank
definitely
you
right
for
about
that.
that.
Yeah, that's true. And you know what? And honestly, even with our younger kids and stuff, school is so hard these days, and there's so much pressure on them to be at a certain standard level and to test at certain standard levels and keep it, all right on this even keel. That there's a lot being dumped on our kids nowadays that I don't think we so much dealt with in our older generation.
That's
Do
right.
you
Now,
guys
some
agree?
people, they really want to be appreciated for their performance. And those kids, usually they keep their head down and do the work.
Right.
But there's some kids, they've got to have high levels of impact. They've got to have more fun. They've got to have more laughing going on. When you get them laughing, when you get them exercising, when you get them fun, then they have more energy to get the work done.
That's right.
That's very true. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thanks for calling in.
All right. So we're going to go to Queen B. Queen B, what would you like to say to Miss Rochele?
Miss Rochele, what about the nephew? What's going on with him?
What's going on with
Her
him?
son.
Yeah, man.
Yes, ma'am.
But see, Miss Rochele, for real, is swept under the rug. He has him spoiled. He left that out. he left that out.
Tell me the first name of your boy.
Anthony.
Anthony, okay. Okay, so he's not coming up to what Cogee would like to see in terms of responsible behavior. Yes. He's running an underlying belief, too, that's held in place by hurt, like he was betrayed, that was first triggered, again, it's not caused, but it's triggered during birth, when he was in labor. And see, these patterns are there at conception. It's almost like I'll say the soul brings in certain information that says, this is how life's going to be, and let's see how you deal with it, okay? And it's attracted into the parents and to their, lines, their generational lines. This is my belief. You don't have to believe it. This is what I see. Is that these patterns come in and they could be generational patterns, they could be cultural patterns, they could be, past life patterns. And so they're belief structures that say this is how life is. Like, I don't have anybody around me who's responsible, for example. Okay, for the nephew, his is there's betrayal that was first triggered during birth with grandfather on father's side. So again, it's y'all's father. Except no, it's his father's father.
Right,
in this
bingo.
case. Okay, and he and his father's father are mirror energy, and it's what he doesn't say regarding. He doesn't say regarding a situation. He doesn't say regarding a situation. The situation is what he can resolve. Right. So I am without. See, and then the situation was with his father and the family, and I'm without something. What is he without? Is he without like support or honor?
His dad.
His father.
Father.
Everything you said was so true, and the stepmother's kind of like
so
in the way.
He feels dishonored, or he doesn't have honor, and he goes contrary, because through the generational lines, there's a sense of that there's no honor there. And so since going contrary, he'll bring it on himself without even knowing he's doing it, a situation where other people will not honor him.
Bingo.
Okay. But the belief is I'm without honor. And doggone it, that's just the drumbeat that's ringing in his ears, his self-talk. And then his behavior helps make it come true in real life.
Yeah, you hit that on the
sure
nose.
did.
Yes, ma'am. And see, this is what I'm saying to you, Miss Rochele. I tell him he's great. Be great. Stop being where, it's you just comfortable being comfortable. Because that makes us uncomfortable, especially me. I can't be around that when I know a person's great. He was a football star, and then all of a sudden, he just didn't want to play no more. I mean, a star football player.
Right,
Colleges,
so he got
everybody.
triggered by somebody that cast him into that feeling of, I'm without honor.
Right.
Yep, 3 years of college, and he just said, I'm going to set out a year.
And just, it made me so mad because
There was
me and his mom.
There was some girl that caused him to do that. Okay, and so there's something going on there that triggered him into feeling like he didn't have any honor, and so he just went contrary on it, and he doesn't understand why he did that, and sometimes he'll probably kick himself for that happening. But again, this is like the unspoken. This is like expectations and this whole understanding of, it's a different understanding of cause and effect that I've been working with for 25 years now. And it sure has helped me to resolve a bunch of situations. But at the same time, what you can do is find out what he feels like his truth is. Does he feel like his truth is he's not honored? And you say, he says, yeah, how'd you know? And because you're trying to build him up, but building him up doesn't take away his own truth. So his truth is, I'm without honor.
And see, Miss Rochele, the thing about it is, and I know this show's about helping men and women understand relationships, but I'm glad that in your spirit today, you picked up that the children have to learn how to grow up and be able to take care of a family. And that's what I want them to do. And I don't see that. I don't see that at all. You get what I'm saying? They're being responsible. Right.
You're not seeing them conform to that idea. Now, you conform to it, out of father stuff.
Right.
Okay. But there was and interesting for you. Let me throw this zinger in, okay, if you don't mind. Because you were lover energy with your mother, she may very well have spent more time and attention on you than she did on her husband. Is that true?
Yes.
So he was jealous of you. Now, part of your trying to make sure that relationship didn't go down the tubes between you and him is you did what he said. Okay, because you comply. If you had a contrary pattern like your son and your nephew do, all hell would have broken loose at home.
Right. We wouldn't have got along, me and my father.
Right.
We wouldn't have had a relationship right now.
That's it. And so part of it is, if you can honor the truth of another person, then you can get a level of rapport with them that might help them choose some different ways because they feel understood. Try it out. I mean, you can try it.
Right. Okay, Queen Bee has another question for you real quick.
Okay.
I would just like to know, oh no, I done froze.
You better move quick.
I would just like to ask you, just for me, this is off the record. I see my father's birthday all the time. Is he trying to say anything to me, would you say? Because I have a hard time with it.
It's you and your father.
Yes.
Counselor. Your counselor. He's counselor. You're counselor to your father. So you would have been showing him level. Did he die or something?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And did you have a much stronger connection with him than with your mother?
Yes.
Okay. And so he's trying to speak with you. Well, again, we're being successful all the time. If we're not getting what we say we want, it's because we've got some unloving beliefs coming true. It could be you've got some loving belief coming true about feeling that connection with your dad. Mm-hmm. Does that feel right?
Yeah.
Okay. And so it's almost like you miss that connection. Now, are you married or
yes, I'm married.
With your son's father?
No.
Okay. Your son's father and you were mirror energy also, and you and your current man are family. He's grandchild, he's granddaughter, and your grandfather. Okay, now, whereas you and your dad, were the counselor stuff. So, if you don't mind, I'll make you may find with your current relationship that with your being grandparent, you would see him as greatest thing since sliced bread. Okay, which is really neat. And he loves to be loved by you. And you're loving him probably more sometimes than he's loving you.
Bingo.
Okay. And the reason is because it's like he's the grandchild and you're the grandparent, and it's hierarchy. And so he wants you to do what he wants you to do, and what he wants to do, and you're going, where is my partner? Where is my pure level responsible partner sometimes? Now, if he understands the dynamics of what's going on, maybe he can choose to be more responsible in being a peer level partner with you. And you can communicate with him, honey, I love you to death, and I just love our time together. And at the same time, sometimes it feels like you've got other things you want to pay a whole lot more attention to than our relationship. What can we do about that? How can we come to some kind of compromise on that? Now, that's part of what I write about in my book on relationship chemistry, is that one of the good things about the grandparent-grandchild stuff is it's really romantic a lot of times. But the downside, and I was married to a man for 12 years where I was grandparent, he was grandson, and it's like he became the spoiled child. Mm-hmm. Okay, and I couldn't get him to come up, and here he was, a PhD chemist. Okay, he's a smart guy and fun, but I couldn't expect him to be responsible at that peer level with me. He kept wanting me just to do what he wanted me to do.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, back with the issue you asked about for your father, you just missed that connection.
She said
with
back
him.
She said back to, she had the headphones off for a second. I'm sorry, Miss Rochele.
Okay, with your father and the reminders that come up, one of the things you can do is turn that into the joy of feeling that connection with him.
And that's what I do. Yeah.
That's perfect. And to see, by feeling that joy, it reduces your stress. Don't turn it into neediness, like, oh, I'm so sorry he's gone. Turn it into the joy that you had that wonderful relationship with him. And then that adds to your energy and reduces your stress.
Miss Rochele, when you said, I feel him coming through, you feel him coming through saying something, and then you didn't say it. What did you feel?
What I looked at is that, whether or not he is in some physical way coming through, I don't know. But I do know that for you, Queen Bee, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Or is that just what your brother calls you?
That's what my dad, that's her nickname. My dad called her that until he passed away, Queen Bee.
Okay. And so you felt special with him.
Yes.
Okay. Now, feeling that level of specialness for yourself will be part of the gift that you got from your father. And so you can feel that anytime you want.
Right.
And that's being loving to yourself to feel that gift. It would be unloving to yourself to turn it into where you are needy. Okay. Instead, feel the joy or the satisfaction of what that feeling was. We are so powerful about being able to choose the feeling that we want to have. Some people get triggered into a feeling and then they want to hang with that and think it's ruined their day.
Right.
But they can choose to feel differently.
Well, the feeling I get, me and Cogee could be just sitting at his table and I'd just say, what time is it? Or we could be riding. And I say, look. And even Cogee's like, Dad, it's just it's all around us. And what is he saying? He's happy. We together. What is he saying?
Well, I think it's more what you're reacting to. Because who knows? Somebody else would see the same number. Cogee would see the same number, and he might react differently. Right. But for you, it's like a little whisper that says you are special and you do feel good. And go ahead and feel that.
Okay.
Right. I agree. And she said, I tell her that all the time. And she even says it. She's like, oh, he's with me. I feel him talking to me. And like I told her, if that's what she really feels, and, she do see it a lot. She's right. I have witnessed it. And I'm like, I've never seen this as many times at all, me being on my own. But ever since she told me on the phone one day, I've been seeing it a lot, but not like since she's been here. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So we down to 3 minutes. And what I want to do, I definitely want to bring you through my Wednesday show. I think you definitely can help me talk to the youth. My Wednesday show is the Hands Off Our Children radio show. And I think, we definitely can have a great interview on that show as well.
That'd be cool, yeah.
Okay. So you want to tell us about your book real quick? I'll give you 2 minutes.
And my book is called Relationship Chemistry, Understanding the Unspoken. And in the book, I detail the information about what I call true energy, which is a resonance between you and another person. And I describe the 8 different parts. There's parent, child, grandparent, grandchild, lover, friend, associate, mirror, incidental, and counselor. And by understanding that, a person may be in a role with you where the true energy either is good with it or not good with it.
Yes, ma'am.
So if you have associate energy with your significant other, that's not going to help that relationship too much. Okay, if you have lover energy or friend energy with that significant other, that's more consistent with what you're expecting. And so I give ways to not only cope with it better, by knowing what the unspoken expectations are, but also mention the transformation option, which is about how you change those beliefs that you've got that set you up to have something you didn't want.
Okay.
So you can go to the website relationshipchemistry.com and see about the book. I can send it out directly, or you can get it on Amazon, and you can get it on Kindle with Amazon. Okay. The other thing I offer are short relationship consultations. So I can give you, what I see as the true energy between you and another person, and also what the underlying patterns are that may be getting in the way of what you want in there.
Okay. Well, I thank you. And I definitely, what I'm going to do, we're going to give you a call after the show.
Okay,
and we're going to set it up, about you coming on the Wednesday show. But today, you were great.
Mm-hmm.
You were definitely great. And I do
you all
appreciate
too.
it.
I'm really glad you all were interested.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Thank
Yes,
you.
that
And
was
you know what?
good.
We're going to have a part 2 coming up again. And on the part 2, we definitely want you to come through so we can talk more about the relationships. It seemed like the spirit took over and we started going in the direction of the children. You get what I'm saying? And,
Yes,
as far as them raising up and being raised up right to lead. So I definitely want to thank you. Definitely.
Sounds great.
And we'll set up
Thanks so
another
much.
time so we can be on.
Yes.
All right. You be blessed. Have a nice day.
Thank you too. Bye-bye
All right.
now.
So everybody, that was Miss Rochele Hirsch. Definitely doing a great job on the show today. Definitely bringing great information. And I want y'all to check out her websites, check out her book. You definitely want to get the book. And you definitely want to check out her information, but keep it going with her where you can definitely talk to her and, whatever she can do to help you in relationships or whatever you can do to find a medium in your relationship to make it right for you first. That's what you should do. So, hey, you're listening to Conversations with Cogee. Title of the show today, For Better or For Worse, helping men and women understand each other. Now, we got our third and final hour coming up. I'm sure you're going to love it. We got Tanii Carr. She'll be coming in a minute, and it's going to be great. Now, this one, we're talking about relationships. We're going to keep it on the mark. I'm sorry that went off, into a different direction, but I think a lot of parents needed to hear that, when it comes to children, the mirror of the children and helping children to build themselves back up. They might think they lesser for their parents. So we'll be right back.
You're seconds away from Conversations with Cogee.